I first encountered him in an oil painting, a bizarre rendering that looked like it was painted by a drunken sailor aboard a storm-tossed ship. The brushwork was amateurish, the proportions clumsy, the perspective askew. But despite the awkward craftsmanship, the man in the portrait demanded my attention. He was impeccably dressed, but sported a wild beard, a pirate's peg leg, and had a mischievous, slightly amused expression. Everything about his appearance implied a good story, maybe even a fantastic story. When I approached the painting to get a closer look, I spotted the man's name on a small brass plaque on the bottom of the frame. Peter Freuchen. The portrait was in an old mansion on New York's Upper East Side, home to the Explorers Club, an organization founded in 1904, when large portions of the globe were still unmapped. The place was pungent with the atmosphere of a distant age. Wood paneling, large fireplaces, leather club chairs, Persian rugs. It called to mind the stories of Rudyard Kipling, or the set of a Wes Anderson movie. One room had an old floor-standing globe, at least 4 feet in diameter, that I imagined a bygone generation of impressively whiskered men standing around, while regaling each other with tales of the great voyages they'd once taken. I pictured them giving the globe a whirl, letting its spinning surface brush their fingertips as they reminisced. Once the spinning stopped, they probably poured themselves fresh drinks before settling in next to a warm fireplace, their rich growls competing to tell the evening's best story. My friend Josh had recently become a member of the club. Its mission today is more focused on field study, and invited me to visit. He said we'd go after hours when the place was quiet and we could catch up over a couple of whiskeys. He promised to show me around this bizarre old mansion that was still crammed with relics from the club's faded past. Dusk was descending when I got there, casting a pale glow through the windows. Clutching our drinks, Josh and I climbed a creaky staircase up to the trophy room, a space filled with old artifacts and hunting trophies that included the hide of a Siberian tiger rumored to have eaten 48 men. It took me a minute to finally notice the painting of Peter Freuchen, high above a stately brick fireplace. I was intrigued by the image's eccentricities, then started wondering what Freuchen had accomplished to get his portrait placed in such a proud setting. The Explorers Club has had many notable members, including Theodore Roosevelt, Thor Heyerdahl, John Glenn, Sir Edmund Hillary, and Roy Chapman Andrews, one of several indirect influences on the Indiana Jones movie character. So why Freuchen? I decided to research his past. The story that unfolded was a sprawling tale of adventure set against the uneasy backdrop of the 20th century, as the world's ordered assumptions tilted precariously in the face of disruptive forces. The most volatile parts of this era, political, economic, and cultural, seemed to collapse themselves to the scale of Freuchen's life, a collection of random beats that somehow find a rhythm together. His journey wanders through the Arctic, the jungles of South America, Golden Age Hollywood, the Soviet Union, the White House, Nazi Germany, the American Civil Rights Movement, a good many bedrooms, and a legendary television game show. Along the way, Freuchen encounters a name-dropper's paradise of eclectic personalities: politicians, writers, artists, journalists, spies, and he surprises us with his early warnings about climate change, before anyone called it that, and his proximity to a pioneering series of experiments in psychic perception. There is something of a Where's Waldo aspect to Freuchen, a man wandering the world, unexpectedly popping up.